Hello, everyone. How are we all doing? Thanks for being here. Let me just quickly make sure everything's all good before I begin. Make sure I'm not talking into the air. Can everybody hear me in the chat there? So we've got a few people in. Hello, Elizabeth. We've got Trumpty Dumpty. We've got Art, David, Mimi, Wendy, Amelia. We've got Jarl, and Josh as well. Thanks for being here, guys. That's great. Excellent. Yeah, guys, let me know in the chat if you can actually hear what I'm saying. I'm currently streaming this outside in my car, as per usual, but this time I have new and faster full fiber internet broadband, no longer on the copper wire. So hopefully the signal should be a lot better this time and shouldn't drop out as much as usual. So yeah, here I am, guys, at 30,000 subs. I was hoping to just hit it for the new year, but it didn't happen. I was about 200 subscribers short, but it seems like I've gone over today. So I thought, you know what, let's do a live stream, let's have a bit of fun, let's have a bit of a Q&A, and I guess celebrate. Yeah, so thanks for all the new subscribers. This year has, well, it's been exponential growth, to be honest, ever since I started doing the podcast circuit and discussing the Nephilim clown theory. It's just been one large uptick of subscribers after another, as obviously each audience for these podcasters has come along for the ride. And I'm thankful for it, guys. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you're getting something else out of the channel. Obviously, you've noticed I don't just talk about the clowns. I like to cover many topics. And in fact, we're going to talk about one today, which I found, which is absolutely disgusting. And I thought, a bit of fun, 30,000k special. Let's talk about something absolutely vile and the signs of the times, we could call it, a surefire indication that there's something severely wrong with the mentality of the people today. And also it shows you just where the New Age, Mother Goddess, Gaia, chakra aligning, hermetic, alchemical thinking gets you. It makes you do all sorts of disgusting silliness. And we're going to get into that today. So leave that a bit of a mystery for now as people roll in and I get a bit of an audience together. I'm going to give you a bit of a presentation about something that was shared to me in the Telegram group. And also a couple of other little fun tidbits here and there. I'm going to discuss the Millennial Kingdom again. I know you guys out there like to listen to my random musings and ramblings on that. And after listening to Shelley's recent video for Question the Narrative from There's No Place Like Home's YouTube channel, I think I'd like to jump in and share the more expanded thoughts on this subject matter. Because I think it's interesting to do. In the meantime, again, while people are rolling in, I'm just going to quickly pop my laptop down so I can try and do this hands-free and not hold the laptop. Hopefully that maintains a decent quality connection. And I'm just going to pour myself a cup of absolutely disgusting green tea, as per usual, as I attempt to collate the iron from my bloodstream and from my major vital organs. I was reading a study today while listening to a video of a guy who's reading a study today, and there was a test done about the effectiveness on green tea at chelating iron out of iron overloaded individuals, which is what I am. And it turns out they did a test between conventional medicines, which are designed in labs for the purpose of chelating the iron, and also just straight up green tea and how effective that is on its own. And it turns out, sorry guys, it looks like one of my lights just went out in the car here. I'm just going to turn the power off. There we go. Yeah, it turns out the green tea was significantly more effective at taking iron out through the body than lab-made medicines. So that's good to know. That's good to know. Everything I've been doing for the past 2 weeks hasn't been for naught. I don't know if I'm going to get such drastic results as were shown in that test myself. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we do, as I wait for my venesection to have the blood drawn from my body, which is the only true effective way to get the iron down. But hopefully, the more green tea I drink, basically, the more iron gets removed from the body. He even gave a warning saying, if you're anemic, do not drink green tea. You may end up in severe lack of iron and also suffer some horrible consequences. But my iron is way above safety zones. I am in possible cirrhosis of the liver level iron. So hopefully this should be doing me a huge favor. Let's see. So I am drinking this disgusting beverage for my own health, as you always do. Oh, right. Absolutely foul. There we go, guys. Yeah, so like I said, I'm going to do a bit of a presentation. We're going to have a bit of fun. In the meantime, I just want to do a quick shout out while I'm waiting here. A bit of advertising. I have not been paid to do this, by the way. Just want to make it clear. This is just something I'm doing out of the kindness of my own heart. And as a bit of a thank you for an artist who basically sent me a piece of artwork in the post for me and my wife. You'll often see it in my live shows. It's in the background of most of my live shows. It's like a circular, it's a church window with lots of birds on it, which you're about to see, by an artist called Elizabeth Joyce. And as you can see, she was the first person to comment on this live chat today as well. And she made a request to me recently to do a bit of a collaboration with my own photography company. And unfortunately, I cannot honour the request because I'm just not in a financial situation to be able to do that kind of thing yet with my own business. But as a thank you anyway for the gift, and obviously for as an apology for not being able to obviously fulfill such a request, I'm instead going to give her some free publicity. So here we go, guys. Let me just share the screen with you. This is her work and her website. She makes some amazing pencil drawings. So this is what you often see in the background whenever I do my live streams in the living room. This is the artwork in the background, and it's actually huge, the original one she drew. And obviously this is a smaller version, but you can buy prints straight from her website here, ejoyceartworks.com. I have left the link in the description. Go and check it out. But if you scroll down here, you can find that she has her own lessons and private tutoring available. She is trying to have a go at it and making a proper business, a livable business out of her artwork. And, as an artist myself, I know it's very difficult to do. It's a saturated market. It's tough, so we've got to help each other out, okay? She's one of us. She's a conspiracy theorist like the rest of us, and we've all got to stick together. So if you're looking for some beautiful, talented, amazing, traditional-styled, quality artwork, then go check out Joyce and maybe buy some of her prints. It's really good quality, in a world where art has been absolutely degraded to the most simplest and basic forms of ugliness, people just finding random trash, putting it in a gallery and getting thousands upon thousands and thousands of pounds just thrown at them for the garbage that they brought into the standards of the human zeitgeist of art. It's a breath of fresh air to actually see artists out there that actually have some talent and some traditional style behind them. They're actually good at what they do. So we've got three art prints here. We've got a bird diving into the water, which is lovely. I like this one. Look at this. Incredible. Such detailed work. And go and check it out, guys. Go and order yourself a print. I think she's underselling herself here at only $15 a print, to be honest. I think she should put her prices up, definitely. But go and check them out. Go and have a look. I mean, what else have we got here? Let's look at the portfolio. This is a beautiful here painting called Agency with a rose in the background there. Look at these. I mean, look at these. Look at the detail in these drawings. Incredible. Clearly, she's been doing this for a long time, and her skills have only developed as she's got older, which is wonderful. And the stuff she's producing now is well, it's amazing, isn't it? And it's beautiful. So go and check it out, guys. Go to the link and buy a print here from Joyce. Like I said, she's trying to start her own business. The art industry is very difficult to break through, but this is how we do it, guys. We help each other out, okay? So this isn't a paid promotion or anything. She'll do live events here, like I said. She can work for commissions for weddings. She'll do portraits of you and your loved one, your husband or wife, together for your wedding day. Just get in touch with her, and she can do all these things for you as well. So go check it out, guys. I'm going to leave that there. Link in the description. So let's just bring this back up. And let's just get a nice slideshow going while I'm chatting today, while I start talking gibberish. There we go, that'll do. Let those images just roll through. Let's switch it up a bit. There we go. Right, guys, so who's in the chat? Who have we got? We've got 63 people with us right now. That's wonderful. We've got Dabby Dawson. Thanks for being here. you know he doesn't ascribe to Enoch 2 and 3. I'm guessing you're talking about me there. Yeah, Enoch 2 and 3 I think are Gnostic nonsense, but first Enoch is definitely worth a read. I'll say that as a personal note. There's 262 videos in his channel. Wouldn't call that only, says my wife. Oh, what did I miss? Is someone talking smack? Someone's talking smack to me, are they? Let's have a look what's going on. Let me see what's saying. What people are saying here. Congratulations, congratulations. Thanks, guys. Sounds good. Sound quality is good. Clown theory is fascinating, says Banjo. I appreciate that. You're going to do the ICP episode soon, says David. Yes, I'll do the Insane Clown Posse episode soon. Right now, I'm working on an episode to do with serial killers who have dressed and look like clowns. So bear with me. But eventually, I'll do an Insane Clown Posse episode, sure. Why do you cling to the Apocrypha? Are you sure of their validity and truth? I completely agree about the existence of Nephilim, but many of these books veer off into occultism, Gnostic, and others. Well, you know, you got to take it all with a pinch of salt, Lone Star. Don't get me wrong. And yeah, I don't put any stock into the Grigori discussion of the Watchers from Enoch to 2, you know what I mean, and 3. I understand there are Gnostic corruptions as time goes on, but I do believe the Book of Enoch, First Enoch, was mentioned in the Bible and even quoted by the apostles themselves. So why should I deny it? You know, I'm not going to deny that. If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. And obviously all the extra canonical books, the pseudepigraphical books, the apocryphal books, as we want to call them, I take them all with a pinch of salt, and I see the contradictions where they are, you know, but I don't think we should deny them, because I think they're good insight into history of the times and the thought process of the people around that time as well. It gives extra context to what it was like to live during those times, which is what matters, you know. So yeah, I'll read it if I want to. I'll do what I want. Kim Blancard, new to your channel, find your videos fascinating, blessings and much love. Thank you, I appreciate that. Love question the narrative. Yeah. Hopefully I can get Shelley on the show and have a bit of back and forth with her. We have been in communication, but I think we've just been slipping through the cracks with each other. With the holiday season coming round, obviously being very busy, having children and all the rest. Obviously, she's a homeschooling channel as well, so you know she's busy doing all that kind of stuff. But hopefully, we can arrange to have a bit of a get together and maybe just talk about our thoughts on the millennial reign topic. Again, I'm not final on anything. I'm open to any take on the angle or whatever, you know. I just like to discuss these alternative concepts and theories, and I think she does too. So we should have a good conversation if we can get that going. Dabidosin asked the question, do you believe that there are different classes of Nephilim, i.e. giants versus clown? Maybe incursions from different angel classes would account for this. Yeah, maybe, yes. The original Nephilim, I do tend to lean towards the original Nephilim were the offspring of seraphim angels specifically mixing with human women. I think it was the ones who were closest to God that were trusted with being the Watchers, and those would have been the Seraphim, which are distinctly dragons, you know, and the fiery flying serpents. So I would think, no, the original class of Nephilim were likely just half serpent, half human mixed hybrids. Angelic serpents, so incredibly psychedelic as well, with powers, multicolours, light, glowing eyes, all the stuff, you know, that comes with the angelicness and the otherworldliness of that hybrid type creature. So I wouldn't venture. I know, but at the same time, I understand the pantheon of like Egyptian gods, for example, and even Hindu gods show many of these gods with different type animal heads. You know what I mean? The head of a lion, the head of a bird, the head of a crocodile, the head of a hippo, which is also all many variants and variations. But I do believe, you know, any angel, including the seraphim, are shapeshifters and they can take any form they want. But I think the true form is that of a dragon. So I wouldn't confuse it really. But I understand there is supposed to be like an insectoid class of being as well. There's a reptilian race of human hybrid type creatures that aren't Nephilim, but are strictly just reptilian. I do think people get confused between the Nephilim, which were giants which look like psychedelic serpent human clown monsters, which is what my theory discusses. And then there were the humans who Nephilimified themselves. Don't confuse the two. The humans that hybridize themselves are genetically engineered or modified humans. Okay? They aren't birthed like the Nephilim were through human women. Okay? They weren't created through procreation. These creatures were created through genetic manipulation. It's different. It was a different process. And I think a lot of people equate the two as just the same. They're just all different classes of the same type of entity, Nephilim creatures or demons or whatever. But I think we need to make that distinction that the OG original giants, the Nephilim themselves, that should never have been created and were birthed into the earth through copulation of angels with humans, they were strictly a different class of being to all the hybridized humans that came after. That's what I'm trying to say there. The hybridized humans that came after were human beings who willingly gave themselves over to transformation. It's different. It's a different process and a different result. And they weren't necessarily giants either. Whether or not that corruption of the body also corrupted the soul, and therefore meant these humans are now stuck on Earth just like the Nephilim and have become the demons as well, possible. That's all speculation. It's all just fun to figure that out. Who doesn't really know? Who knows? In that respect. I don't think other classes of angels did mix with humans. From what I've gathered, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing evidence for that anywhere. I don't see any evidence that there was a second incursion necessarily. I think there were attempts at a second incursion, like the Tower of Babel. There was an aim to get up to the heavens to recreate a Mount Hermon event so the angels would mix with humans once more, but I think God quickly put an end to that before it got to that point, and scattered everybody and confused the languages. I don't, and from the description of Michael's reaction to seeing the punishment the Watchers had to suffer for doing what they did, it was clear that no angel would dare do that again. But nothing was said about manipulating and corrupting the genetics of humans. So I think they did that instead. But they certainly didn't have sex with human women again. I think it was just the Watchers, and I think the Watchers were specifically seraphim. That's what I've gathered from my own research. That's what I think happened. Could be wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not final 100%. I'm about 98% certain that's what was going on from my own research. And, just into history of dragons as well and the stories. It seems like they were the most involved with messing up humanity. Specifically the dragons. So I hope that clears up some of your answer. I know it's not probably not the best answer. Maybe not what you were looking for. But in terms of classes of Nephilim, I think I've broken it down as clear as I possibly could there from my own research. I hope that helps, Dabby Dilson. What else have we got here? Well, he only has 100 plus videos. Fair enough. I've got loads of videos on this channel. 262, but I've made more than that in my lifetime on YouTube. I've made over 300 videos, definitely. A lot of them got deleted because the algorithm didn't like them and YouTube censorship and the rest. So that's where I'm at. I'd have to watch all of them to allude to his true worldview. Well, hopefully listening to these live shows will give you a good insight into how I think about things. I hope that clears it up, Lone Star. More trying to determine what he believes that watching 200 plus videos. Well, what I believe is complicated and would take a lot of time to understand and following me for a while to understand. People are complicated, Right, there we go. Going to check out her artwork. Excellent. Yeah, but guys, the point is, go and check out Elizabeth Joyce's artwork. Go and show her some love. Go and buy a print. Let's help her out here and make it regular, Yeah. If she's open to requests as well, so go for it. Lacey Lavender, thanks for being here, says Shalom. Exactly, real art. Exactly, guys. No one's gatekeeping, you just need to ask questions in a way that isn't assuming things. That's right, Wendy, thanks for clearing that up. Saying that you cling to an idea isn't exactly a question, is it? You've assumed something, says my wife. Absolutely, yeah. My wife's not trying to gatekeep. She's just my wife and gets defensive because she loves me. That's all it is, guys. And she's right at the end of the day. You did say something very presumptuous about me there. And, Just because you may not agree with something I say doesn't mean you have to be brash about it. Let's have a civilized conversation. If I unsub, will this stream be a lie? Maybe, get help. Maybe. I don't want to test the hypothesis. I'd like to keep you here if that's possible. I didn't assume anything. I told you he has plenty of videos. Then you sarcastically said he doesn't. That's right. Go on. Go get him. Get him, Keely. Get him. No one is assuming malicious intent. Yeah, okay, so we're just arguing. Let's see if we can get past all that and get to some real comments and real things. Madam Medusa. Ooh, we got a Gorgon in the chat, guys. How are you doing? She says, I found you in Conspiracy Auras promoted your channel. Yes, he did. He certainly did, and I'm thankful that he kept the theory alive when I could no longer make videos about it. It was very nice of him. I love drawing and paint too. Just been doing it as a hobby. Yeah, me too, guys. I've got a degree in fine art, but I seldom find any time to paint or draw these days with being a full-time parent, content creator, photographer, and a loving husband as well. Yeah, it's difficult to find time to do really anything creative these days. I do miss it. It was quite a cathartic experience, just sat there painting for hours on end with some acid jazz playing in the background. You know, I get it. Yeah, maybe, you know, when my son grows up and I find a bit of time, some extra spare time, maybe I'll start pick up the pencil once more. But until then, I'm just gonna make videos instead. I think you were onto something. My wife is from Indonesia, and I'm going to Bali this summer. I have a new look on it now. Yeah, Church99. Bali is full of it. Believe it was known as the Island of the Gods. I think that's what people used to call it there. Like the last place the gods were before they disappeared or something like that. But somebody today who lives in Bali, she sent me a message on Instagram, Barb, I think her name is, and she said she's my videos helped her convert from Hinduism to Christianity because she finally understood what it really was all about. So that was amazing to hear. But she sent me today, I haven't heard from her in a few months, but she sent me today loads of pictures of Rangda the Demon Queen statues at a Hindu temple there in Bali. And it's just this temple in Bali, just full of statues of this bare-breasted, huge buck-toothed, wild-tongued, psychedelic, monstered, bulging-eyed demon called Rangda. And it's just everywhere at this temple. It's like, oh, that's great, isn't it? You know, this temple just dedicated purely to demons. It's like, great. You know, and people wonder like where this inspiration comes from, and the surprise when I tell them that it's demonic. You know, it clearly is. But it's interesting, and I thank her for those photos. I'll maybe share them sometimes with you guys. You might see them pop up in a video or two in the future. What else have we got? What else have we got? Just saw this as I was going through the clown playlist, says Purple Lover 96. Yeah, well, thanks for being here. Thanks for taking a break from the playlist and coming to listen to me ramble instead. Now we've got about 100 people in there. I'm going to do a quick presentation for you guys in a second. I think an ad may have just started. It keeps telling me when ads get inserted now. I'm sorry if there's too many guys. I don't have any control over the ads, unfortunately. And I've set it to balanced. I've not set it to aggressive or anything, so it should just be quite easy going on the adverts, but if there's a lot too much. E. Joyce is here. She says, thank you, love you all. Yeah, no problem. And like I said, I'm sorry I can't collaborate with you yet. Who knows in the future if my business does, my own wedding photography business starts to take off a bit more. Maybe we can get you in there as well. But in terms of like profits and putting our prices up and things like that to collaborate, we're just not in that position yet. You know, we're a first year company. And our prices are quite low as it is just to get that business in at the moment. So I'm afraid I can't help you in that way yet, Elizabeth, but I'm certainly going to try and help you any other way I can to get you some more traffic to your channel and to get your artwork sold. That's what we do. We help each other out here. How do you suppose non-corporeal beings copulated with flesh as we are? Spirits don't reproduce. No, spirits shouldn't reproduce. It's not that they can't. It wouldn't be much of a rebellion otherwise, would it? And they should not have taken wives, and they should not have copulated with human women, and they should not have reproduced monsters on the earth, but they did anyway. And that's why God was pissed. Okay. And there's plenty of stories throughout all cultures, not just the biblical culture, the biblical narrative of gods creating avatars for themselves to have physical forms on earth. I mean, Jesus Christ was a manifestation of God's son, a son of God, manifest flesh. And I'm sure if Jesus Christ wanted to, which he didn't, it wasn't a part of the plan, I'm pretty sure he could have copulated with humans. I think his body would have functioned perfectly. And there's a thing called an oikotarian, which is what is used, which is basically synonymous with Hindu avatars. But it's the biblical term for angels taking physical form, something similar to a human or a human-like form. Um, they go in what's called an oikotarian. So they can. Angels can take physical form. They can take spiritual and physical form simultaneously. They are beyond our rules of physics that we have to follow. They are spiritual beings with power over the creation in that respect. There's nothing stopping them from doing it. Just because it says in the Bible that they take no wives doesn't mean they can't. It means they shouldn't. Okay? Because the result is Nephilim. And it's death and destruction all around. Okay, so that's all that means. That's what I'll say there. Do you think God made animals based off the types of angels, considering some look reptiles? It's possible. It's possible, Jessica. I've heard theories and ideas. That even the dinosaurs were a creation of the fallen angels because, the Watcher class angels, because they were reptilian themselves and they like to create beings in their own image, type of thing. I've heard that, but at the same time, I'm not sure how much a weight I hold into the dinosaur narrative either. I'm more akin to believe dragons than dinosaurs. But even then, dragons were likely fallen angels and not giant reptiles walking around. So it's complicated, and the history and the timelines are all messed up. I mean, I've seen stone carvings and artworks, of humans riding triceratopses. So that's implying humans and dinosaurs were together at the same time, which is supposed to be impossible, right? That's supposed to not go with the narrative at all. But there they go. There they are in rock, carved in stone in a temple, a human being riding a triceratops. So it's kind of, who knows what was really going on there. Obviously we have Leviathan as well, which was a giant serpent, like sea serpent, which is similar to a dragon. We have the behemoth as well, which is a huge land-dwelling reptile with a long neck of some kind as well, which were God's creation. They were created by God. They weren't corrupted or anything. So who knows? Who knows? But it's I think God created all the animals on Earth. I think the fallen angels or the rebellious angels after the Nephilim, and once the Nephilim were destroyed, I think they took it upon themselves to corrupt all flesh and started mixing animals together to create new hybrid creatures. But I think the original forms and kinds, are God's creation. I don't think the fallen angels can create. I don't think angels themselves can create anything. They can only manipulate what's already created by God. All the resources are already here type of situation. All they can do is just move it around and change it, But they can't make new stuff. I think that's kind of what I've come to understand. So probably not, Jessica. I'm not sure if angels started making loads of animals in their image. But I do believe they corrupted a lot of animals just before the flood. That's as much as I can say from my own research there. Right, guys, I think I'm catching up with the chat now. I bet it'll jump away from me now, and there's about 20 other messages that I've missed. But yeah, guys, I am going to give you a quick presentation about that disgusting thing I mentioned at the start. So, let me just flip the screen here and share with you what I've got on the screen. So yeah, like I said, go check out E-Joyce's artwork. There it is on screen. I think you guys can see this. I don't think I have to do anything else. But I was in the Telegram chat, and let me just get this lined up first of all. This is crazy. Okay, so I was in the Telegram chat, and somebody shared with me this really disgusting link to this website. And now this came around a few years ago now. So maybe I'm late to the game. Maybe you've already heard of this. I am going to guess maybe 90% of you here have not heard of this before, but this is absolutely disgusting. Okay, so what this is a Polish company. And what they do is they create beer, okay? But they create beer from the yeast generated inside the birth canal of a human female. Okay, so I'm trying to say this in the most YouTube-friendly way possible. I mean, supposedly, technically, I'm being scientific when I say vaginal yeast, but I don't like saying that. It's pretty awful. But that's what's going on here. They have mastered the science. They have devoted a lot of time to looking for a woman who has all the desired instincts. The goddess we want to put in a bottle. So here they are around the round table looking at porn, basically trying to figure out who's the hottest chick they can find and whose yeast can they extract to make to make beer from. And you know it's science because look at this atom symbol they have right here. You know they're being serious, right? You know this is serious science going on right here, guys. Okay, so they discovered the process of transmitting female essence, as they call it, by isolating lactic acid bacteria from the yoni of a sensuous woman. Paulina, the brunette, Monica, the blonde, and Patricia, the blonde. I think it's Patricia in Polish, though. I think that's how it's pronounced. So they have these 3 specific women they've found, and each lager bottle you buy from them is from one of these women. And you can peel back the label. There's only so much I can show you here, by the way, guys, without it just being a huge problem for YouTube, you know. But you can peel back the label, and it gives you all the details on the woman you've selected, the woman's yeast you are sampling. Okay. An essential part of this process is to ensure the safety of our product. So you know they're being serious, guys. Remember, this is science. Look at the symbol here. You know it's science, right? They're really serious about. Look, they've got a chemistry set and everything. All right, and you know they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And you know, during isolation, the material is tested for the absence of other bacteria and viruses. Well, thank the Lord that they're actually checking that it's safe. You know, these procedures prevent other bacteria and viruses from surviving, thus allowing the growth of only lactobacillus bacteria. Once again, in terms of certainty and safety, a final test of the propagated lyophilized bacteria, is that right? Lyophilized bacteria is carried out before use in the preparation of the material. Lyophilized bacteria are tested for the presence of foreign DNA and/or RNA. This ensures that only lactobacillus bacteria are used, and it is completely safe and healthy. So, the gynecologist collects a vaginal smear from the models. These smears are taken to a laboratory where bacteria are isolated, cleaned, and then analyzed and multiplied. At the end of the process, the bacteria are used to produce the pure lactic acid that goes into Yoni beer. Okay, so I hope you're thoroughly disgusted now, because this does not get any better. Because they've made a bit of a cult out of this, okay, and they've given all this absolutely wild, questionable history as to the process of what they're doing here. Okay, so they made a cult out of this, and it says the great goddess, the greatest among gods, feminine deity whose main reincarnations are Aphrodite, Venus, Ishtar, Makosh, and Freya. Thousands of years ago, the great goddesses, worshippers, and priests in almost all cultures and civilizations discovered her sacrament. Ugh, I'm cringing just saying that phrase. Her sacrament. What a joke. Anyway, her divine part lying hidden in her deity's Yoni, priestess of the goddess, had found deities amongst women. So, priestesses of this particular goddess Yoni go and find deities that inhabit or have been embodied in particular women that they find. And it's like, you're a manifestation of the goddess Venus. So we are going to take your divine Yoni lactobacillus, your yeast, okay? Because you are a manifestation of a goddess. And it says here, you know, they find the divine sacrament from these women that the priestess chooses, and they combine it with water, malt, and yeast, and create a sour ale. Okay, so this is all history, guys. Trust me, this is all backed up history, right? That's what they're saying here. You know, you got to trust them here. This sour ale, combined with the deity's Yoni lacto, served as the new secret sacrament provided by the great goddess, produced and drunk by her followers, who set up a secret order, the Order of Yoni, which destiny is to worship the goddess by finding her deities and respectfully taking her Yoni lacto, making the sacrament brew, and drinking it. So this is just getting worse, alright? Now, thousands of years after its establishment, the Order still finds descendants of the great goddess, and using modern lab technology, it takes, isolates, and multiplies her Yoni sacramental lactobacillus, that's a mouthful, enabling the usage of it in modern breweries. In a safe way, right? Trust us. Thus, the Order offers her divine sacraments, the Yoni brew, enabling people to have contact with the great goddess through her deity's Yoni sacrament. So you got loads of images here, of the deities being worshipped by men, and hints and nods towards her sacrament, as it's called. One of the initial Sumerian branches of the Order worshipped the great deity's avatar, Ninhursag. Sumerian kings drank her, quote, milk, but only the Order knew that there was no milk, but it was the lactic acid bacteria of her reincarnations. Used by the Order's masters in brewing process during Ninhursag's sacrament. Her symbol, looking like the omega letter, symbolizes the vagina, the ark of the lactobacillus. So it seems like whenever they were on their period is when they harvested the particular bacteria that they needed. This is getting worse and worse. The ancient Greek branch of the Order of the Yoni worshipped Aphrodite, the deity of love, passion, pleasure, beauty, and finally, the deity of the Yoni beer. During festivals in her honor, Aphrodisia, members of the order drunk ambrosia, fruit beer made with lactobacillus bacteria of her reincarnations, also known as the nectar. It is believed that Aphrodite was born in the sea foam. Again, it is the influence of the order, whereas the foam symbolizes the Yoni beer's foam. I do not like using the phrase foam while discussing vaginal yeast. The ancient Egyptian branch also existed. They drank the Yoni beer made of reincarnated goddess Isis, or goddess Mat. One of her symbols is the Ankh, where the upper part symbolizes the vagina, and the lower part symbolizes an ear of grain, together giving the Yoni beer. Bit of a stretch, right? So, yeah, of course, we have the hexagram here, the six-pointed star. Another part of the huge conspiracy that we need to understand, and this symbol turns up everywhere. Hint, hint, by the way, guys, that's why it's my logo. It's because it's what we need to understand the conspiracy. I don't promote this stuff. I am not a follower of the Star of Rem fan. I am not a Kabbalistic Jew of any kind, that logo, that symbol, is because that represents the thing you need to get to grips with if you want to understand the conspiracy, okay? I'm a born-again Christian. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I believe he died and rose again for our sins. I believe he is the Son of God. I put my faith in him, okay? That is clear, and I profess that with my mouth, all right? And I'll profess it till I am dead. I would die for his namesake. So make that clear, okay? So moving on from that, another important symbol of the order is a hexagram, known as the Shatkona in the Indian branch of the order, or the Seal of Solomon in the ancient Israeli branch of the order. The symbol consists of two equilateral triangles where one symbolizes femininity and the second one masculinity. It embraces the Yoni beer, where sacramental lactobacillus represents the divine femininity. And the yeast, which are responsible for the alcohol production, symbolizes the male energy. Thus we can say that the triangles represent both divine feminine and the masculine energy, and the lactobacillus combined with the yeast in the Yoni beer. So I do think, by the way, guys, this is bullshit history they're making up here. I have to make it clear now, none of this is true. They're just literally making this up and saying that there was this secret order that throughout history was drinking the golden bacteria of female birth canals, okay, during their periods, and that you can't find any knowledge anywhere of this history they're supposing that existed, the secret society that existed throughout the millennia. Maybe it did, but you'll be hard-pressed to find any historical documents talking about this, all right? Here is the King Solomon of Israel, who was also a master of the order. He discovered that the Queen of Sheba was a deity, a reincarnation of the great goddess to fulfill the Grand Master's destiny. He traveled to Sabah with a simple question. Sorry, this is Sheba, by the way. It's saying Sabah there. The utmost respect, receiving the Queen's Saint Lactobacillus. Back in Jerusalem, he brewed the sacrament, a sour ale with the Queen's lacto. Apparently, the Knights Templar were in on this. They had several members of the order set up a base in the Temple of Solomon's ruins. There they discovered the last remaining bottles of the Queen of Sheba's beer and ancient texts for Solomon's Yoni brew recipes. This is an ancient recipe, guys, straight from Solomon himself. One of the reasons behind why the French King Philip attacked the Templars. His wish was to drink the sacred Yoni beer, including ancient Sheba's beers. So, some of the members of both the Templar and the Yoni orders established some proto-Masonic fraternities, which later led to the Freemasons. So, the Freemasons have their roots in this vaginal yeast beer, guys. The symbol square and compass is based on the hexagram, which we showed earlier, which is divine, feminine, and masculine coming together. The V represents the vagina or the vulva. Thus, this Masonic symbol of the square and compass represents the Yoni sacramental drink, naturally. Okay, nothing to do with the grand architect of the universe. Nope, it's a beer brewed by vaginal yeast. And in medieval and Renaissance Europe was full of Yoni's lodges. One of the order's greatest masters was Leonardo da Vinci. His main goddess, the Mona Lisa, also known as Gioconda, he painted her portrait just after drinking her divine sacraments, the Yoni beer, of course. Not that there's any evidence for any of these claims whatsoever, but this is the point, guys. This is what happens when your brain is on new age nonsense. This is what happens when you've been taking or drinking too much of the alchemical Kool-Aid, okay? This is what happens when you try to reconnect with your pagan pasts and revitalize these old pagan practices into a new age form. You end up drinking beer made of vaginal yeast. Okay, I'd avoid it. This is absolute gibberish, and that's all I can pretty much show you on this website. The rest of it is blatant pornography. So I'm going to go here and show you that Yoni is indeed, it just has its roots in ancient Indian understanding. So Yoni, sometimes called the Pindika, is an abstract or aniconic representation of the Hindu goddess Shakti. It's usually shown with linga, its masculine counterpart. So that's the thing in the middle of the circle there. That's the masculine. Sorry, let's move that. Yes, that thing in the middle is the masculine counterpart to the female counterpart that come together as one. Okay, so that's the Siva Lingam. There you go. That's what this is all based on. This is Hindu understanding. So if we keep scrolling down here and going through some more of this, you can find that the divine eternal process of creation and regeneration is what this is supposed to represent. The macrocosm and the microcosm coming together as one. The masculine and the feminine. The Yoni is conceptualized as nature's gateway to all births, particularly in the esoteric color and tantra practices. So this is based in tantric Hindu practices. And there's Shaktism and Shaivism are traditions in Hinduism which venerate this type of thing. There are temples dedicated to this in Hindu understandings. And as you know, I've kind of hinted at throughout all my videos, the sources for most of Hindu mythology is the veneration of the pantheon of fallen angels. So it's hardly surprising that, you mess around, you find out, you worship fallen angels and demons, you end up drinking vaginal yeast. Is it worth it? I don't think so. Anyway, Yoni is a Sanskrit word that has been interpreted to literally mean womb or the source, and the female organs of generation. It also connotes the female sexual organs such as the vagina, the vulva, the uterus, or alternative to origin, abode, or source of anything in other contexts. So yeah, there is a religious historicity behind this symbol. It represents basically the symbolic version of creation. The male and female energies coming together for the birth canal, the process, and it's all throughout Hindu iconography. This history they came up with here, that it basically permeates throughout all human history and has been done since the beginning of time, is basically bollocks. But they've had a good go at it. They created this disgusting beer out of it, and they have people out there drinking the bacteria of female birth canals, as they call it, the sacrament, which is pretty disgusting. I would recommend just staying away from the whole divine female energy, new age balance of the chakra alignments, whatever you want to call it, ideology. It leads to this type of nonsense. All right, guys, it really does just lead to this type of nonsense. Leave it out. It's not worth it. I find it interesting that the Yoni mudra, which is a gesture used in meditation in more modern yoga practices, is a symbol we constantly see the Illuminati throwing up, isn't it? Yeah, I think we've seen Donald Trump do this a few times. I'm pretty sure I saw an image of Andrew Tate doing this not so long ago as well. So it's interesting that it's linked to that. Maybe it's a reference to their true androgyne nature. You know what these people are like in their androgynous forms, and their androgyny. They love throwing that in our face, don't they? So maybe that's what it's truly a reference to. Maybe whenever you see a male figurehead chucking this symbol down, maybe what they're trying to tell you is that they're actually a woman. Who knows? Who knows? Just a quick theory out there. Who knows, guys? But there you go. I've shared with you one of the most disgusting things I've ever read in my entire life so far, I think. I'll try my best to avoid the Yoni brew if I'm ever out at a bar, and I hope you will too. Anyway, back to the group chat. Let's see what's going on. How did you guys all react to that? I'm hoping the reactions were against rather than pro, but you never know. Everyone has a different opinion, I suppose. Yeah. Anyway, guys, let's see what the chat's saying here. Let's see what's going on. Then I'll show you a couple of other fun little things that I found. Nothing major. I'm just going to take a quick drink of this green tea, which may have gone cold now. Ugh, it's even worse cold. I didn't think it could get any worse, but it's getting worse. Ugh, absolutely disgusting. All right, anyway, let's see what's going on. The Yoni symbol reminds me of that lingam from Hindu temples. Yes, Chris, that's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. I've got a lot of vomit symbols coming up. Wonderful. That's the reaction we're after, guys. That's the reaction that we're after. Dabby Dawson has just dropped a super chat. Does it seem that the clown Nephilim failed to inherit their father's intelligence? They are often portrayed as dumb, barbaric, and ferocious in living clown form, but clever and manipulative in demon form. Well, yeah, I think originally the major downfall of the Nephilim is that they were just full of hubris and pride. Now, don't get me wrong, they would have been smart because they were part angel, they were part divine. They wouldn't have been complete morons, but I don't think they had to rely on their intelligence much. I don't think they were scholars. I don't think they were reading books or learning the mysteries necessarily, or, getting their head down in some academia. I think they were huge giants that didn't really need to do much to gain the power they wanted in life. So I think they just relied on their brute strength and force for most things. And they mostly got their own way because of it, David Olsen. So I think you could say that the original Nephilim were pretty stupid in the sense that they didn't see the big picture and didn't realize that their pride would be their ultimate downfall in the end, and that they weren't as great as they thought they were. But then in disembodied form, once they lost their physical bodies, their spirits were stuck on Earth, and they've been stuck there for thousands of years. And I think, thousands of years of simply observing mankind from a invisible place, which mankind can't perceive, but they can perceive them, like a one-way mirror. I think they may have learned a thing or two in those 1,000 years. So yeah, I think they're very smart now. I think we need to give them a lot of credit now. I think they've been watching us for thousands of years, and they know exactly how we tick. And I think they've learnt a lot in that time, okay? But originally, they weren't very smart. Not before they lost the bodies, anyway. I think they had the capacity to be smart. I don't think they utilised that ability much. I think they relied more on their strength. I hope that answers your question. Triggered my trypophobia real quick. Oh. So Jessica says, I didn't mean that angels made animals, but that maybe God based animals looked of how he made the angels. I don't know, just a thought. I've never thought about that before. Maybe. Maybe the angels were like the prototype animals before he made them in physical form on the earth, maybe. Possible. Possible. The angels were there before the animals, so yeah, I can get on board with that being a possibility, but it's difficult to truly answer that type of question. I wasn't there at the beginning of time, you know? I wasn't there when the foundations of the earth were laid. I have no idea. I can't help but notice this artwork, while awesome, completely glorifies these clowns. And if I were to ask God and the devil if these images makes them happy, well, do you think they would say yes, says Autumn Simonson. Look, I can't help but point my work points out that these ancient civilizations have been venerating the Nephilim. What you're seeing, like this one on screen right now, is an example of the features in which they are trying to emulate and copy in their artwork. Okay, I wouldn't have much of a theory if I couldn't show you the evidence because you're scared it's demonic. Why are you scared of these pathetic demons that lost? Okay, we have all authority in Christ over them. They have no power over you if you have Christ, if you have strong faith. They lost. Okay, they're disembodied idiots and fools who can do nothing to you anymore. Have no fear over them, okay? Don't fear pictures and images. You're told to not fear countless times in the Bible, okay? Because they are a defeated enemy. We have authority over them all. They are weak. They have no power in and of themselves. We give them power. And if you start saying, you know, oh, these clowns, these images are evil, you know, get them out of my face, you're just giving them more power than they deserve, and more credence than they deserve. You know, how are we supposed to expose evil if we're not allowed to show them for what they are? If I'm not allowed to show images because people are too sensitive, you know, get over it. That's all I can really say about that. I get this a lot. You know, like, should you really be showing all these images of clowns all the time? Aren't you just glorifying the demons? Aren't you just giving them power? It's like, no. I don't ever say at any moment, oh, by the way, guys, make sure to worship these demons while you're at it. I do nothing but denigrate them and put them down and explain clearly how they are a defeated, pathetic, weak enemy. You do not fear them. If you are attacked by these entities, now you know what they are and where they come from, and now you know what you can do to defend yourself. That's the point of all of this. And hopefully, anyone who takes part in these rituals will see in my videos that I have clearly shown the rituals they perform and where they come from and their origins and sources. Maybe it will inspire people like, let's say, these people here, you know, from this Spanish, this particular Spanish one here, you know, maybe it'll stop them from doing it, because they'll realize the true dangers in doing these things. That's all I can really say about that. I mean, come on. Live in the real world. Right? No worries, Paul, says Elizabeth Joyce. Maybe one day, appreciate that. If you ever speak with Shelley, can you please tell her about me? I want to send her a print, but she never received my messages. Certainly, yeah, I can get in touch with Shelley for you, Elizabeth, and I can get you two in touch together. No problem at all. I swear they did this in America already, but thought it was a joke when I heard it back then, says Art. No, these guys are serious. They're serious. Yo, I'm not that adventurous, says Chris. Tell me about it, right? I know, it's just awful. Yeah, everyone's got the right reaction to that Yoni beer. I've heard of this before, so gross. Yeah, absolutely. Disgusting, my god. Do you think it's a form of sex magic? It sounds like an offshoot of that stupid dabbing craze. Yeah, this all goes hand in hand with, you know, that whole Marina Abramovich mixing her, you know, that pirate spucking thing she's really into. This is similar to Aleister Crowley's sex magic rituals, you know, and then the drinking the woman's period blood, all this type of stuff. The more disgusting, the better. The more connections he creates to the other world, the more disgusting things he does, the more depraved he is. The whole idea of representing a woman as a goddess as well, any particular woman as like a manifestation of a particular goddess, that's actually a Crowleyan concept. He believed many of his lovers were the reincarnation or the embodiment of the whore of Babylon. And the great harlot who would ride the beast 666, and he believed himself to be the beast, and any woman he had sex with was a manifestation of the harlot, the Scarlet Woman, the whore of Babylon. So yes, he also believed that as well, and clearly the Order of the Yoni have a similar view about women as well, which is pretty stupid when you think about it. Um, Aleister Crowley himself, absolute cringe master. Just one of the top producers of cringe. He was a shit artist. He had a crappy religion he created for himself, and he basically just wallowed in his own feces until he was dead, and he died broke and riddled with syphilis and good. That's all I can say. What an absolute loser. Anyway, let's carry on. Wrong on so many levels. There's no end to human depravity. Peel back the what? There's so many simps. I guarantee you this will sell out. So remember that streamer who literally sold her bath water? Yes, exactly. I know. I'm just trying to show you just how far gone we truly are. I'm playing the Office GIF right now. No, no, God, no. Yeah, that's literally what's going on here. It's pretty awful. WTF am I hearing? I bet those women are witches. What is the art of dabbing? I thought that was um, a wax extract of marijuana. That's the kind of dabbing the type of dabbing I used to understand was dipping your finger into a bag of MDMA. But I don't know what slang the kids are using these days. Who knows? I'm lost to it all. I left that life behind, by the way, guys. It's been like well over a decade since I've done anything like that. So don't judge me on that comment. Is this the V juice beer? It absolutely is. How is this even legal? I think it's better. I don't know. You've seen the science. It's they have a clean process. They have a chemistry set. They know what they're doing. Don't worry about it. It's science. Oh God, sour ale. I know, right? Absolutely disgusting. They really got inspired by the lingam. They really went all out with the lingam. I know, right? Lactose intolerant gets new meaning. Absolutely. Um, yeah, absolutely awful. So 30,000 subscriber special, guys. I thought I'd give you a bit of presentation about vaginal yeast. Naturally, why wouldn't we be doing that? What a milestone stream here, Paul. I know, right? I know, right? If if it's during their period, then it's 100% sex magic. That's wild. Absolutely, it is. The sacrament, as they call it. It's so cringy, isn't it? Like, can these people not see themselves in a mirror? I mean, it's just, oh, I don't know. It's never mind the fact it's absolutely disgusting. But can you imagine being the type of person that thinks it's cool? It's kind of like, what happened? Like, just stop it. Just stop. Get help. You know what I mean? It's cringy, isn't it? Like this edge lords, these bloody edge lords everywhere. A Twitch streamer named Amaranth is partnering with Yoni to sell her. Oh God, I've heard of that. Now you mention it. Yep, absolutely awful. I was wondering about the logo too. Yeah. Who has the ring? I don't know. Is that a reference to Solomon's, the Ring of Solomon? I don't know. He's explained the logo in older videos. There actually is a video on my channel dedicated to explaining and breaking down where I got every aspect of my logo from, where the inspiration came from. You can go. It's one of my first videos. Go back and look at that if you're curious, guys. But it was actually inspired by a documentary called "Symbols of an Alien Sky," which was by the Thunderbolts Project years ago when I first started the channel. But yeah, it's not as nefarious as you think it is in the context to why I'm using it. It's not a promotion of the symbol. It's a denigration of the symbol, if anything. The secret. I'm not going to say that. Yeah, being drunken with her wine might have a different understanding. Certainly, yeah. I wouldn't wonder at all if they really have a secret order drinking this juice. Yeah, they probably do. They probably do, to be honest. We know what these guys are like with drinking bodily secretions. They love it, don't they? They absolutely love it. They lap it up because they're absolute weirdo freaks. There may have been a group doing this. Fallen Angels and their offspring did nasty stuff. They did. They certainly did. Descriptions in some of the extra canonical books of what those fallen angels got up to with women is vile. It's absolutely foul. Of course, the Knights Templar were. The cheese of Shiva. Yeah. Um, Mac and cheese forever. Oh, God. When you smoke crack, you drink vagina juice. That's horrible. Is this wacky beer history or some type of diversion so people don't look too deeply? Says Fiona. Probably, yeah. Yeah, there's definitely, like I said, I imagine this has been a secret occulted knowledge within many secret societies for a long time. I don't think it's quite the religious order they've made it out to be on that website, but I think it's the tongue-in-cheek revelation of the method thing. You know, they are revealing what they actually get up to in a commercialized, profitable way, um, with a lot of lies mixed in there. They've definitely been doing this for a long time. I can believe that, certainly. We know what these people are into, and it's the worst type of thing. The stone thing looks like straight out of, actually, I don't know what that is. I'll look it up another time. Raw King Kong, Mark Twain. First creation account, Elohim created humans and gave them freedom. Second creation, Yahweh created Adam and placed him in the garden as a slave. It wasn't as a slave. It was as like a right hand man to groom, ready to take over as the leader of all Earth, basically as the king of all Earth. It was like a proto Jesus, and then Jesus had to come and do it himself because Adam failed miserably, I guess, in like a massive roundabout way, kind of. But no, Adam was being groomed to be a king, and he messed up big time. That's basically what it is. He wasn't a slave. God, bloody Gnostics, honestly. I'm absolutely sick of them. Ever heard of a fecal biome transplant? I have heard of that. Yeah, I think South Park did an episode on it, didn't they? That is also absolutely disgusting. Channel email. Yeah, my email address is actually in the description down below if you guys want it. All nations deceived by your pharmakeia sorcery. Hallucinogenic drugs which allow demons to inhabit humans. Says gone to, yes. Good to see you here, by the way. I'm glad you enjoyed the videos. I remember you commented earlier, didn't you? Maybe they actually see themselves in the mirror. Sorry, guys, it's crashed on me, so I can't quite see what's going on. I need to get it down here. I've had a super chat there saying congrats again. Get a good cookie to celebrate, I guess that says. I wish I could eat cookies right now, but I'm on a sugar fast. I haven't really had sugar in like 2 weeks for my own health purposes. It's been an absolute wild ride detoxing from sugar. I'm not gonna lie, it's tough, but I think I'm getting through it. I'm definitely not Gnostic. Lol. Okay, fair enough, Mark. But if you start trying to shift the God of all creation as an evil slave master, I'm gonna start thinking you're into the whole Yaldabaoth angle of the Gnostic view of God being an evil prison keeper, aren't I? What do you want me to think, Mark? What's your language? Adam is not the father of all humans, but Eve is the mother of all life. If that's the case, who's not from Adam? Yeah, no, I've heard the Cain is the offspring of the devil theory. I've heard that before. Have you ever tried DMT? You speak Gnostic, Mark. Exactly. Drunk Wedding Photographer, thanks for being here. Welcome to all the subscribers to the channel. Continue the conversation on Telegram. That's right. Yeah, I do have a Telegram group, guys. If you weren't aware, the link's just been put in the chat there. Come and join in. Plenty of subcategories for you to share your thoughts and opinions on all sorts of things. Come and check it out. 30,000 is a lot, John. It is. When I started at the start of the year, I was on like 10,000 or something, and I've gained 20,000 subs in 1 year. It's and I'm very thankful for it. I truly am. Sugar detox is awesome, says R. It is. It's tough though. It really has been so hard. It's the Christmas period, isn't it? So, what did everybody get me for Christmas? They bought me just a shit ton of chocolate and sweets, and I haven't touched any of them. I've had to lock them away in a cupboard out of sight, and I just don't want to see any of it. Too much temptation. And yeah, it's been tough this time of year to be doing that, but I have to do it for my own health. I cannot risk causing any more damage to my organs in any way. So completely removing sugar from my body is one of those steps. I am fasting after I eat my last meal in the afternoon at about 4:30. I fast until the next morning, until about 10 o'clock the next day. So I have what's that, an 18-hour fasting window or something like that. I'm drinking green tea 3 times a day to try and collate the iron out of my organs as well. I'm doing everything I can. I'm really going hard. Um, yeah, but thanks for the support. I appreciate it. So do you think the Book of Enoch is as valid as the books of the Bible? I do, personally. I do. And even if it's not canon, it's very good history. I'll say that. Didn't Satan create the material world? He's the demiurge, the Gnostics label, says Guy. No, Satan did not create the material world. No, he didn't. Satan created nothing. Get that into your head. He is a liar. He's the father of all lies. He would love for you to believe he created this physical universe. He would love for you to believe that. Right? That's you putting him above the throne of God. That's kind of the point. That's his whole shtick. I will ascend above the thrones in heaven. I will put myself in the positions of God and be like God. That's what he said. That's his main goal. That's his agenda. And if you literally believe he created the physical realm, you're believing that he is the creator God of all creation, and that's just not true. Okay? Yeah, that's the Gnostics are wrong. They're just wrong because they don't want to believe that there's a God out there that actually cares about them in any way, shape, or form. They want to believe they can save themselves through knowing enough stuff, basically. It's pride. They want to do it themselves. They don't want to put their faith in a savior. They want to say, no, I can save myself. I don't need God. It's the same spirit as their father, the devil. I will be like God. I will put myself above God. That's what Gnostics basically want to believe. They don't want the answer to be simple. They don't want the answer to be that all they have to do is put faith in that Jesus said who he was is truly who he was. They don't want it to just be that simple. They want it to be overcomplicated because they want to feel clever and smart. That's all it really is. Okay? I don't know, I'm ranting now. I'm going to start a war with the Gnostics on this. Right, this is the thing. I've been meaning to say this for a while. I might have to make a video about this because the truth movement online has fallen drastically from when I left in 2017. I had to leave in 2018, and in those 5 years that I was off YouTube, the Gnostic perspective and the New Age truthers have just sunk their claws into this movement of spreading the truth of our reality. And now there's so many channels out there just spreading, and let me make this clear, the New Age religion for the New World Order. Do you understand that? If you're a part of any New Age doctrine and you're following New Earth, Mandela effect, vibrational consciousness, chakra aligning, fifth dimensional vibrational third eye opening channels who are claiming to tell you the truth about the nature of reality, if you're following any of those channels and truthers, you are indoctrinating yourself with the New Age philosophy, which has been designed as the state religion for the coming New World Order, which we're supposed to be exposing and showing as the agenda in the conspiracy culture. Okay? Stop it! Come out of her, my people. Wake up! The truth is not in any of these vain, babbling philosophies where you make yourself a god. Okay? The truth is in Jesus Christ. Understand that. If you're going to understand anything about the conspiracy, understand that. There are too many of these channels now. Just talking bollocks. If you've been doing this for long enough now, if you have been truly seeking the truth for long enough now, and you've been in the game, I'm not talking, oh, well, I woke up when COVID hit a couple of years ago and now I see all, you know nothing. I've been doing this for 10 years. It takes at least 5 years to just drop all the bollocks that you've programmed yourself with, and then you can even just begin to open yourself up to and learn the truth about what's really going on in this world, okay? And you will cling on to so much before that point. You truly will, all right? And I'm trying to get you there quicker, all right? The truth is that the biblical narrative is true. God truly is who he says he was, and Jesus Christ truly is who he says he was. That's why we even have a conspiracy. That's what it's all really about. Let me save you some time. Stop wasting time. Okay? Stop thinking you can ascend out of this nonsense yourself as long as you don't go towards the light when you die, and make sure your soul doesn't get recycled or what other nonsense people are preaching towards you, okay? Jesus told the truth. His yoke is easy. Just believe on him and you will be saved. That is it. That's what they don't want you to realize, okay? They want you believing you can do it yourself. You are a god. You can be like God. You know, as long as you're believing that, the spirit you are channeling is the spirit of Satan, the father of lies, okay? You're on the wrong side, basically. And there's many, it's a spectrum, you know? Channeling the spirit of Satan is a spectrum of beliefs. There's thousands of beliefs out there, with all their own flavor and color, like a rainbow, that all basically have their own root in the exact same thing. You are a god. And everyone seems to think their version of this same belief system is special. It's not. There's only one belief out there, one religion that truly separates them from the rest. And that's the truth in Christ. I'm not talking about churchianity. I'm not talking about some random denomination or faction within a particular church from a particular history who has the right version of the Bible or book. I'm just straight, plain and simple, the way that Christ talked about. Just follow the way, which is through Christ. Follow him as your model. Try your best not to sin, and just believe and have faith that he defeated death. He is who he says he was. He rose from the dead. That's it. Okay? He is the Son of God. That's all you have to do. And I know that's too easy for some people. They don't want the answer to be easy because they want to believe they can do it all themselves, and they learn enough alchemical, hermetic, Enochian wisdom of some kind. They read enough of the old books, learned enough of the old sigils and the magics and the tantras and the mudras and just said the right lines at the right time, did they perform the right magical incantations, or read the right cards or tea leaves, or I don't know, whatever it is, followed the stars perfectly. There's many facets of how it's done. It's all bollocks. Okay? It will not save you. Your knowledge will not be the thing that saves you in the end. And knowledge is good. Knowledge is fine. It's good to know things. Be wise as serpents and as harmless as doves. But don't think that knowledge is going to save you. It won't. So, I mean, what's this one-eye king saying here? One-eye king? I mean, come on. It's a bit on the nose, isn't it? Some knowledge isn't for everyone. It's hidden, coded for only those with the eyes to see. You apparently don't have those eyes. What? What are you talking about? Do you understand how much of a pretentious weirdo that makes you sound? It makes you sound like you think you are so deep. It's cringy. Stop it. Okay, I'm going to drink some tea. Okay. I'm going to drink this disgusting green tea. Fiona sent a super chat. Sugar is evil. I'm trying to detox from it too. Good for you, Fiona. Good for you. You definitely feel the benefits very quickly. I'm hoping if I can do this for like a long time, I can lose a lot of the extra weight I've gained over the past year. Because I used to be a manager of a supermarket, so I would do about 30,000 steps a day for 10 hours a day, along with a lot of heavy lifting. I was working out constantly, and I was in the best shape of my life. And then since I quit that job and became a photographer and a full-time, content creator and artist, I've packed on a few pounds. I'm not going to lie, maybe a couple of stone. And I'm going to try and lose that, hopefully by cutting out all the excess sugar. Just not needed. Fingers crossed it works. Yeah, One-Eye King. That's not Gnostic teaching. Yes, you're being simple. See, this is the thing. Gnosticism's like communism. No matter how you describe it, someone will always say, nah, that's not real Gnosticism, or that's not real communism. It is. It is. I'm sorry. Get over yourself. Bro, it's 666 added years to the timeline from 1776. Millennial reign ended in. Okay, okay. The short season ends in 2026. There's always a new year when the end is finally coming. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, no man knows the day or the hour or whatever it is, And I know I was talking about the first coming of Christ, but if we're in well, did I say the second coming where he came, with his kingdom? But if it's the end, the final judgment, I assume still nobody knows the day or the hour. I assume the same rule applies. So I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to live my life in fear of dates. It's not productive, and it's not what God had in mind for us. Um, Let me just skip through the chat here. Tell him, Paul, says Wendy. Yeah, I get really angry about these things because I guess I'm tired. When it's been a decade since I've been doing this now. I'm getting old. My knees ache. My joints ache. I don't get enough sleep. I have a toddler. You know what I mean? And it's like we just don't have time for this. We really don't. And the problem is, like, it is only just going to get worse, isn't it? There's just going to be more and more people giving themselves over to vain philosophies rather than wanting to know the truth. And that's kind of, we've been told that that's how it would be. If this is preterism. If we're in the little season, then, Satan's gathering his army. And it says he will succeed, which means most people are going to give themselves over to his vain doctrines. They're going to be on his side during this time. And who am I to stop prophecy? Like, who am I to deny revelations to come and pass? All we can do is keep our eyes on Jesus ourselves, those who do know, and hope we make it through the white throne judgment at the end of time, I guess. And in the meantime, I'm just gonna keep throwing shade at all these weirdo Gnostics out there who think they're gods in some way, or think they're special, or think they're so smart. Super big brained people. You know the ones. You know the type. Amen and him. Jesus never wanted to be worshipped like a deity friend. Um, what what are you even talking about? Do you believe in Christ consciousness? Do you believe, Christ is just a symbol for the Son or the consciousness of mankind, and then we can all be like Christ ourselves as long as we unlock that particular part of our consciousness through doing the correct things, doing the correct works? Let me guess, something like that. That's probably what you believe. I've heard it all before. There's many facets and variations, and everyone claims to have their way of doing it is the right way. It's everyone has their own version of being a Gnostic. That's the problem with it. It's not consistent. There's no consistency. It's gibberish. It's nonsense. Okay, it's mankind's pride has fueled all of it. That's all I can say. They all should have vibrated themselves up there already. It's the dumbest thing. I can agree, John Daniels. I can agree. Um, DVN. I think I've read the message about the millennial reign there, DVN. I think I mentioned it before. That's your first super chat, though. Thank you. I appreciate that. Do you mean Jesus was nice? Exactly. Tao. Yeah, don't get the Taoist the way and the Jesus the way mixed up. That's not what's going on there. Okay. There's plenty of false ways. All right. Jesus and what he was trying to say is the only way. Okay, that's the idea. That doesn't mean he was talking about the same religion. And Jesus was a Taoist. That's not what I'm saying. Do not mix my words up. Some knowledge isn't for everyone. It's hidden. Yeah, whatever. Blah blah blah. Yes, people love their traditions so much and feel they can save themselves by their works. Can you tell the holidays just passed? I'm tired too. Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it, Fiona. I think we're all a little bit tired, aren't we? Just a bit of fun, guys. Just want to show you. I like doing the clown thing. That's what I do, isn't it? Someone sent something really funny into the Telegram group, which I think I'll share with you guys, which is quite fun, and also very sad at the same time. I think it was MK Ryan who sent me this one. So thanks, shout out to MK Ryan. Thanks for sharing this one. But if I share the screen with you and get off this absolutely vile vaginal yeast beer site, and close that quickly, check out this newspaper clipping here. So this is a clown, okay? Mr. William Cook as clown, okay? This is in I think it's 1830s, okay? So this is not long after Joseph Grimaldi created this image of a clown you see here, and this is other people copying him now. So Joseph Grimaldi solidified this as the clown image. This is modelled after, obviously, the Rakshasa demons of India, as I've deduced through my own research. And this is another person copying the dress style. But what he's decided to do is he's arranged Mr. Nelson will sail the River Burr starting from Yarmouth Bridge to Vauxhall Gardens at 5 o'clock on the above day, in a washing tub drawn by 4 real geese. Okay. The bottle imp, mesmerism, I don't know, all sorts of crazy stuff going on then. So this guy is in a bathtub being pulled along by 4 geese on the River Burn. Okay, that was the event that started it all, okay? Anyway, it turns out all these people died because of this. So this is here to commemorate the 78 people who lost their lives, of which 59 were young children, while watching a clown named Nelson being pulled up the River Burr in a washtub drawn by 4 geese. So here he is in his 4 geese, as you can see. And here's a bunch of kids, or an image of a family and children. Here's the bridge collapsing as they were watching this event. Kids as old as 2 years old. Mary Ann Lake, she was only 2 years old. Thomas Johnson was only 8. Maud Juniper was only 9. We've got Robert Adams was only 7 years old. We've got a 4-year-old here. James Buck. Got another 2-year-old died, Charles Dye. It was a sad event, brutal, because they all gathered to watch a man dressed like a clown being pulled down a river in a bathtub by 4 geese. And I find it interesting that, it's linked to this idea of a clown being involved in what basically became the murder of 78 people. Who's responsible for this? Is it the clown? Is it the architect who created the terrible bridge? And look, I found it interesting that the bridge has these obelisks, 4 obelisks holding it up, Egyptian obelisks nonetheless, as though the people who were stood there were in the center of a square-shaped obelisk ritualistic place. Was this a sacrifice? Was the bridge purposely sabotaged to cause this? Was it simply because the bridge was too heavy that this collapsed? I'm pretty sure most architects account for things like that. How many people can it hold, 78 isn't that many. But at the end of the day, a clown involved with the death of 78 people, all gathered to watch the spectacle and all lost their lives because of it. I think that was interesting to bring up and share with you guys, just as a bit of a tidbit, something to add on to my theory of work. Yeah, so sad and funny at the same time. What a silly spectacle that caused such a horrible tragedy. And yeah, look at this thing. What a hideous looking monster. Anyway, let's get back to the chat. Let's see what people are saying. So I accidentally opened something there. There we go. Let's get the slideshow up. Serenium Moth, thank you for that donation. I appreciate that. Those big brain types will rub off on you if you allow it, says John Black. It's crazy. But then you think about it, and this is not of God. Exactly. Left hand, right hand. Not you, Paul. I don't know what that means. What do you mean, not you, Paul? I don't know what you're saying there. Sorry, have you just realised that I'm not into all the New Age stuff and you're upset about it? I'm not sure. Another $5 for the epic monologue on the New Age and Gnosticism. Can't send more or the wife will shoot me, says Josh. Josh, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I'm glad that rant meant something. Stop spamming, you'll eventually see it, says my wife. Yeah, I've got mods in the chat, guys. Spamming is a no-no. I might have to start trying to limit the chat maybe to timed, so you can only comment every 10 seconds or something. But in terms of the timeline and the millennial reign stuff, I'll cover it a little bit, but I don't know how much time has been added or hasn't been added. But Chris quickly asks, Paul, we know that Jesus is good, but do you agree with the idea that he is nice? Being good and being nice are two different things. You know, you can be nice to somebody who's killing themselves, or you can be good to them and tell them that they're killing themselves, even though they don't want to hear it. You know, there's such a thing as tough love. I think he comes into that kind of category, to be honest. I won't call him nice, but he means he has our best interest at heart. I would say that. But yeah, on the Tartarian stuff, like I said, I was listening to Shelley talk about it on her show today, and she was trying to figure out, you know, like my video was that maybe brought a lot of you people here, you know, who are we if the millennial reign has already happened exactly? Who does that make us as a peoples, you know? Where do we fit into the narrative of this particular timeline if that's true? And you know, I don't have the answers to this specifically. I speculated in that video that, you know, it says there's the first, those who take part in the first resurrection are blessed because they get to reign with Jesus Christ for 1,000 years. The first resurrection are the martyrs who died in Christ's name during the tribulation. And they get to basically become saints, from what I've gathered. And then it says the rest of the dead weren't resurrected until the 1,000 years was over. And I assumed, well, that would mean basically we are the descendants of those resurrected immediately after the millennial reign. That's what it seems to what it says, you know, the rest of the dead. So the rest of the dead who maybe didn't know Christ or never had a chance to know Christ are born again during this little season period. And that was my first assumption, you know. Again, I don't know this, I was just spitballing. And the idea is, you know, we are the descendants of, and our spirits, our souls, are those, let's say, children who never got a chance to be born, or those who lived in a place where they never got to hear the Gospels, you know, people who never had a chance at salvation or get to have their chance now. But obviously there are issues with that, because it does say in the Bible, you know, it's appointed for a man to die once and then judgment. So I can't square it exactly, you know, and there are holes in that theory, I'll admit. And Shelley was trying to square it too, and she was speculating, well, what if we're not that? Because the Bible doesn't specifically say, you know, when the rest of the dead are resurrected after. It just says after the millennial reign or the rest of the dead are resurrected, but it doesn't say when. It doesn't say it's immediate. So maybe my theory that they were immediately those people is wrong. And she was speculating, well, what if there are people who lived through tribulation and also lived through the millennial reign, you know, and not everybody was resurrected who lived during the millennial reign. There may have been people who were resurrected who had perfect brand new bodies, you know what I mean? And these were the saints, these are the martyrs. But then the rest of the people who just kept living normally, didn't have extended lifespans, you know what I mean? Just continued to live in their normal bodies, reproducing, having families. They also lived through the millennial reign. And it's possible, you know, yeah, many of them did give themselves over to Christ during that time because they could see him right there in front of them with their own eyes. It was undeniable by that point, you know, Jesus Christ was king, and the whole world followed him then in that millennial reign. There may have been struggles and battles and fights to get it to that point. It might not have been imminent and straight away. Jesus may have had to do his, you know, go throughout the world and show the situation for what it truly was to everybody. But there may have been people around who weren't in the glorified resurrected bodies. They were just descendants of people who survived through the millennial reign. And it's possible when the millennial reign ended and the saints went to the camp of saints, you know, and basically camped there, you know, boxed themselves in there. We don't know where that is. We theorize it's the North Pole because it's the middle of everything. It would make sense, you know, because it says when Satan gathers his army, they encircle the camp of saints after traveling up the broad part of the earth. So in order to encircle something, it implies all corners of the earth come together to one point, which would be the center, which would be the North Pole, right? So that makes sense in terms of geography, kind of. But what about all the people who didn't go to the camp of saints that lived through the millennial reign? They're still around. And it's possible we are the descendants of those people who lived through the millennial reign, who weren't the resurrected. They were just people, And that's who we are. And we're still having our chance, and she explains of, you have these insane asylums, don't you, which were just packed full of people everywhere during this time period, during the reset period after the millennial reign ended. And she was saying there's a huge long list of reasons why you could get chucked in one of these things. And one of them was religious fanaticism. And she was explaining how it's possible that there were a lot of people who were refusing to let go or stop telling everybody that the millennial reign has already come. While Satan's kingdom was happening and more people working for Satan in these secret societies were spreading false doctrines that the millennial reign is yet to come, there were still loads of people everywhere who have descendants who lived through the millennial reign. They're like, no, Jesus has already come and ruled. We know exactly who we are and when we are. This is Satan's season, and all those people needed to be shut up, basically. So they all got crammed into these insane asylums until their generations died out, and those generations that came after them didn't know their crazy stories anymore, and it became a thing of the past, and history was rewritten and changed, and all knowledge that the millennial reign had come and gone dissipated with each passing generation, and up through to the 1800s to the 1900s to now were the descendants of these people who were either locked up, and deceived. And she explains how all the orphans that were around everywhere during this period, and these massive orphan trains just moving children all over the Americas and all over the earth, these huge orphan trains everywhere, just packed full of kids, just populating cities everywhere. Well, these were the children of those who lived through the millennial reign who refused to shut up. And they had their kids taken off them, they were locked up, and these children were everywhere made orphans. You know what I mean? And that's who we are. We are the descendants of these orphans, basically, who were also the children of those who lived through the millennial reign, and were the descendants of those who lived through the millennial. So that's an interesting way of viewing it. And it kind of squares the idea, that, every man is appointed to die only once. And it stops the reincarnation theorizing from happening as well, which is difficult to understand. But she also brought up, that Lazarus technically died and Jesus rose him from the dead. So he died once and was risen from the dead and continued to live. But he wasn't reincarnated. He wasn't brought back into a new body. He was still Lazarus. You know what I mean? So it's different, isn't it, in a way? He was only dead for a couple of days. So I suppose it's quite not the same, but it's not unprecedented to assume that people can live twice. There is a biblical precedence for it, but again, that can be squared by saying, well, Lazarus only died so Jesus could resurrect him to prove that Jesus had the ability to conquer death. It was all working for God's purpose. That was the point, And there wasn't anyone else he raised from the dead. The whole point of Lazarus dying was to be resurrected again, as a sign, So again, I just thought it was interesting. I think her answer is probably better than mine, because again, I just assume because it said, the rest of the dead live not again until the millennial reign had ended in Revelations 20 meant, well, that means, once everyone who lived during the millennial reign goes to this city, the beloved city, and disappears to the North Pole, the world needs to be populated again. And what if suddenly people start coming into existence who are being resurrected for the final resurrection? But then it's like, well, wouldn't they have to die? Or wouldn't these people have to live forever until the end and then the judgment? But they're not. People still die during this time, which means there has to be another resurrection, a third resurrection after all of this to bring everybody back. You know what I mean? And that's not biblical. It doesn't say there's a third resurrection anywhere, just two. So it's difficult, isn't it? That's a hole in the theory. The only way I could think that my theory could still work is that we're assuming that the great white throne judgment at the end of time is a physical one. What if the great white throne judgment at the end of time happens when everybody's dead and all life on earth is gone? Because it says this army he builds encircles the camp of saints, Then he brings fire down from heaven, which destroys them, kills everything. Likely just destroys the whole earth, turns it into a smouldering, unlivable mess. No life whatsoever, anywhere. And then the great white throne judgment happens at the end, in the spiritual realm, not in the physical world. So everybody's dead, and all the spirits that are asleep wake up for judgment. All those who just immediately died in that war immediately end up in the spirit realm at the great white throne for judgment. And it's not no one has to be resurrected for that final judgment, because everybody's dead by that point, and we're all in the spirit realm being judged there. That's one way I could think of squaring it, my own theory. So Shelley's theory is that we are the descendants of those who lived through the millennial reign, who weren't a part of the first resurrection, but were just people. That's why we're not in glorified bodies. That's why we're still just normal people. That's why we still have short lifespans. Only a select few had that privilege of extended life in a new body. Those were the saints, who are now in the camp of saints. And we just keep living and dying as normal people, as we always have done, even today in Satan's little season. That's one theory. My theory was that a bunch of people were suddenly resurrected during this time, which were those who didn't know Christ or never had a chance at salvation. And we get to all these souls get to come into this world for the little season and live their second chance to make a choice, Jesus or no. We have a chance now, because this whole world knows Jesus. There isn't a corner of this earth that doesn't know that name. We can know him now, and there may have been times in history where people could not have known him because of geography, and now it's different because all the information is everywhere and it's all there out in the open for you to get to know if you want to. So my theory was that these are the resurrected people, and it was immediately after. And that's why we have orphans everywhere. That's why we have Cabbage Patch babies just suddenly sprouting out of the ground. You know what I mean? That's why we have just these people everywhere out of nowhere after a great reset. It's because they just did kind of just randomly appear. And one theory, somebody said, why is everyone wearing top hats and suits and looks really well dressed in these old photos? And the theory was, well, they were all wearing their funeral clothing. They're all dressed in their Sunday best, because that's what they were buried in. I thought that was an interesting concept. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but I like that kind of out of the box thinking, So yeah, Shelley's theory is that we're the descendants of the people who lived through the millennial reign. My theory is that we're the descendants of the dead that were resurrected with a chance to know Christ again. Through Shelley's version, she can justify that the Great White Throne Judgment would happen because there'll be the final resurrection right at the end of time, where everybody gets a body and then judgment. My theory implies that the judgment might be completely spiritual and there'll be no physical flesh alive when the judgment finally happens. So there's two ways we can go about it there. There's two narratives, isn't there? Which can be kind of be biblically squared, but both have problems. So I'm just trying to hash it out. I don't know what you guys think. Do you have any theories on the matter? But I'm trying to hash it out in my mind. And I just find it interesting that we have these two narratives that could be the case. And I need to talk to Shelley. I need to actually talk to her about this and have a conversation about it. Because I don't know. And I think she's like me. She's open to just discuss it, and she's not dogmatic about any way. And I'm the same. And I think we could have a really, really fruitful, useful conversation to try and hash out the ideas involved with it. And I think it's interesting that we both have differing perspectives that are similar and different. So I think we could have some fun with it. If anyone knows her or talks to her regularly, reach out to her for me, please. I've already reached out. And like I said, we're kind of going through a back and forth, but I need to kind of rev it back up. Right, so let me just catch up with the chat. Looks like I've got a couple of super chats in that time. Serenium Moth, thank you again for that one. I appreciate it. I got MK Ryan 20. That wasn't me, but I'll take whatever shout out I can get. Congrats on 30k subs. Thank you, MK Ryan. I appreciate that. I'm not sure who it was. I think you reacted to it then. I'm sorry for not shouting out the appropriate person. I'm going to get to the bottom of it now. Let me quickly find it, all right, and give the right person the credit where it's due. I feel bad otherwise if I don't do this right. I'll go to the clowns tab. I'll try and find where somebody posted it. It's not there. No. God, we post a lot of stuff in this chat, don't we, guys? Everything gets buried all the time. Let me just check this one. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Maybe it was meme. Was it a meme? It was a meme. It's in the meme section, isn't it? Let me have a look. Uh, Memes, pictures. Let's keep going back. Here it is. Let me go to the post. Oh, I can't find it. It doesn't take me to the post. Show message. It was Revelation in the group chat who sent it. So thank you, Revelation, for sharing the meme that showed me the goose. Okay, the goose carrying clown. I really appreciate sharing that. So that goes out to Revelation in the Telegram. Shout out to them. Thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate it. That's great. Right, there you go. Yes, credit where credit's due. Hopefully that won't leave any sour taste in the mouth for anybody. But yeah, thanks MK Ryan for the support as well. I really appreciate that, guys. It's been a hell of a year, you know, and hopefully this year will bring on new and interesting things. I'm sure it will. It has its ups and downs like every year seems to. Hopefully more positive than negative this time. That would be good. But yeah, I think I've caught up with the chat there, guys. Any final questions you want to bring up to me, let me know. Just mention them in the chat now, and I'll try and get to you guys' questions. I brought to the bottom of it. It's hard for me to scroll back and get everybody's. There's a lot of words being said, and it's all becoming a bit of a blur to me right now. So if you guys want to ask any questions, just ask away, and I'll try my best to get to them now. And you've got me for another maybe 15 minutes, and then I'll call this live show an end. I'm just going to set my laptop up so I don't have to hold it anymore while I pour myself a nice cup of green tea. First, I need to find some keys so I can actually see what I'm doing. I'm sat in the dark. I know it's probably daytime for most of you Americans out there, but for me, it's 10 o'clock. So I cannot see a thing. It's raining, it's cold, it's typical British weather, but I have a flask full of nice, warm, slightly flavoured green tea. I think it's got like apple and pear in it or something, which are fruits that don't have the vitamin C, which makes me it's the only fruit I can have in green tea that doesn't cause any problems to my iron, apparently. We did some research on it. Still tastes pretty rough though, even with the slight flavouring. Right, let's see what's going on here. Any reasonable questions, guys? Keep it reasonable. Gregory, congrats on the 30k subs. I think the video that really helped propel you to 30k subs was the video where you looked back on the Rakshasas. Yes, it was. That one went viral. I ended up on like 160,000 views so far, and that really brought a lot of people to me. Absolutely. And then my Millennial Reign video, the Who Are We If Millennial Reign Has Happened video, that one shot up as well. I think it's on like 60,000 views now. That's brought a lot of extra subs too. But it's mainly all the podcasts. All the podcasts have mainly brought a lot of extra people to me because it's new audiences each time. As an announcement, just so you guys know what's coming up, I have reached out to all the people I've been doing podcasts with who have invited me onto their show, and I have been booking up all my Sundays, all my coming Sundays, with these people. And we're going to have a truth or therapy session with each of them so they can tell their stories of waking up and how they came to the truth. So every Sunday, I'm booked up now. All of January, all of February is booked up every Sunday. We're going to discuss with all these other content creators. So I've got Vicky Joy Anderson's coming back. I'm going to do a truth or therapy session with her. I've got Amy from Eyes on the Right in March. We're just setting up a preliminary date for now, but we'll have her in March. I've got Bo from the Bump podcast. We've got him in February as well, at the end of February. I also have George Hobbs from the Fact Hunter podcast. We're going to get him on, and he's going to do a truth or therapy session with me. We're working on the guys from Camp Herman. They're going to join me too. I'm going to get the Sabbath at Midnight guys on, Lionel. We're going to get them to join me. Yeah, I'm pretty much booked up. I've got a podcast one Sunday with Strange O'Clock podcast. This Saturday, I'm also on another podcast with a new one called Conspiracy and Chill. So that should be fun. And I'm also on another guy's podcast on Friday as well. And I'll be streaming them straight to my channel on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So this coming weekend, I've got lots of stuff for you guys coming up there. Lots of live shows. A bit of fun. Get some interaction in the chat there. Listening to me talking about the clowns. And Sunday will be a Truth or Therapy session with the guys from the Sabbath at Midnight podcast. So that should be good as well. So lots of stuff coming every Sunday, booked up with a new character, a new podcaster. And I'm always reaching out to new people to join me on those shows. I have got Jesse Spots coming on one Sunday as well. And for those who've been in the game for as long as I have, you may remember Jesse Spots from the olden days. He's no longer on YouTube. He kind of got kicked off and he's been doing his thing on Twitter since then. But I used to enjoy listening to Jesse Spots ramble on about his thoughts and feelings about all sorts of topics, a lot like I do today. And I did a couple of therapy sessions with him years ago with another channel owner called Meegsby. He's actually in one of the episodes of the Nephilim Look Like Clowns as well, where we talk about the Royal Order of the Jesters and we talk about killer clowns from outer space. I think it's episode 16 or something. So he's on one of them as well. And it'd be good to catch up with him. I haven't spoken to the guy properly in over like 6 to 7 years, you know. So it'd be nice to have him back on Jesse Spots. So I'm going to catch up with him as well and do a bit of a therapy session, you know. I think we all need one. My wife has given me an update on her. Yeah, we've had this terrible situation where my wife has started a new YouTube channel and she's used it with a new email address, which is based on her new married name, which is my name. And she had all these plans, obviously, to start this channel, get loads of content out this year, you know, and start building a new one up from scratch. And just as soon as she started, Google locked her out immediately and said, "Oh, we found some suspicious activity. You need to log in again, but you need to give a number to us that you use to log in with to prove it's you." So she's given the number that she logged in with, the phone number, and it's saying you can't use this number. And she's just locked out, and there's no way around it. And you can't use anybody else's phone number. It just won't allow us. And it's like they've kicked her off because they said there's suspicious activity, which there wasn't. And then they've just completely locked her out of it, and she's lost the channel now. And the only solution is to wait like 7 days without touching it, and hopefully you might get back in, but you might not, and they might just delete your channel. So all that work was just wasted for nothing. So please, guys, show some sympathy for my wife there. It's rough. You know, she had a plan, and it's just been absolutely taken away from her, and she can't. She's kind of in limbo now and can't do anything until it's sorted out. So it's rough. So yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Paul, have you considered collaborating with L.A. Marzulli? Says L. Duan. Yeah, I'd love to talk with L.A. Marzulli. I have to reach out to him and get him on the channel. Yeah, we can have a bit of a back and forth. Share with him my Nephilim clown theory. I'm not sure if he knows about it or not. I know Vicky Joy Anderson is published under L.A. Marzulli, and I'm pretty close with Vicky. She knows all about my theory. It's possible she has talked with L.A. on my behalf, maybe shared the theory with him. So he might know about it. But I know LA takes his work very seriously on the Nephilim, and I'm worried he might consider me like a really weird fringe outlier topic he doesn't want to associate with, maybe. Maybe he isn't. Maybe he'll be open to hearing my concepts and ideas and theories on the matter. But I'd like to reach out and talk with the guy, sure, but I'm sure he's a very busy man and it's tough to get him locked down like that. But yeah, I'm considering reaching out to LA. Or if you guys want to recommend me to him, if you're in any form of communication with the guy, recommend me to him, absolutely. That's YouTube voices, Dale. I know, right? It's just Google. I don't know what's up with them. They're just a nightmare to work with. Yeah, my wife's saying she just sent an email. That's all she did. That was considered suspicious. She used her email account to send an email. Oh no! Quick, shut it down. You know? LA went on Nephilim Death Squad the other day. So I don't think he's particularly discriminate. There's MK Ryan. Interesting. I must have missed that. Wow, that's a hell of a catch for David there. The Raven at Nephilim Death Squad and Top Lobster. They're good on them. Good for them for getting LA on there. Yeah, well, if they can get him, maybe I can get him. I'm not to say that I'm better than them or anything. That's not what I'm saying, but clearly LA might actually be available. So yeah, I'll have to give him a go. Sure thing. Now you see TV is compromised. Are they? They've been in the game for years. They were around when I started in like 2012. I listen to them every now and then, but I couldn't really get on to. I don't. They're just not my style. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Why are they compromised? Can you fill me in on that? I'm interested. Um, well, he's fringe too and very open minded. I'll try. Oh, thanks, Elduan. Um, heard LA Mazzulli was compromised. I don't know if they are. I don't know. If he's willing to talk with me, let's talk. You know what I mean? I'm not. I don't play the shill game. I don't accuse people of being shills. I like to assume ignorance before malevolence every time. If they are, then they are. What can we do? You know what I mean? They'll spin their narrative. Let them. But I'm open to talk to anybody. Some synonyms. Do you realize the Roman Catholic Church was created by, in fact, the Romans who killed Jesus? Okay, we're on that one, are we? Um, LA is actually kind of a prima donna in real life. I wouldn't know, Jeffrey. I don't know the guy. LA told Top he was going to have to wash his mouth out with soap. yeah, those guys do not know how to stop swearing when they talk. That's true. A lot of people complained about that when I streamed my talk with them when I was on their podcast. I streamed it to my channel, and people were not happy with the swearing. I mean, that's just the way they are. That's kind of the shtick as well. Um, so each to their own. If you love truth and about Catholic Church, look up Jonathan Kleck. Again, I don't hold too much weight into Jonathan Kleck's work either, to be honest, Gracie, personally. Um, he spins that whole "we are fallen angels" thing, doesn't he? And I don't his presentation style grinds on me a little bit. It's just a personal preference. But there's something very haughty about his whole attitude. I just don't get on board with. Um, Steve Quayle and L.A. Marzulli blackballed Rob Skiba for being a flat earther. I remember all of that now you mention it. Yeah, that was a long time ago, wasn't it? Shout out to Rob Skiba. Rest in peace there. May God bless his soul. Uh, but yeah, it's a shame what happened to Rob Skiba. I would have loved to have talked to Rob Skiba. And I was a nobody during that time, so he never would have even thought twice to speak to me. But now I'm in this position where I got a bit of a platform behind me. It's sad because I would have been there, trying to get to talk to the guy and have I would have loved to have a conversation with him. It's too bad though. It's too bad. Uh, I don't mind bad words, just not every sentence, says the drunk wedding photographer. Yeah, you know what though, guys, get cutting some slack because they have only really just broken in and just started with the whole podcasting game and interviewing game. It's not easy, okay, and you have to learn how to do it, and people naturally fall back on a language they feel comfortable with when they're nervous as well. And those type of words are like fillers. Swearing every now and then is like a filler for them because their mind's trying to process the things they're trying to say, and it might just be a nerve thing. Okay, so give them some credit, cut them some slack, and don't be too hard on them for speaking the way they speak. And I'm sure they'll get better with time. All right, I'm sure they'll get better with that with time, and they'll work on the language and all this type of thing. But I don't judge them too hard for the swearing thing. Words are just words to me. I don't try to put people down for the language they use. Okay, that's not the best way to judge a character. Let's put it that way. I've met good people who do swear a lot, and it's just the way they speak. It's the way they formalize their thoughts, and sometimes you can't do much about that. So cut them some slack. Uh, Jonathan Kleck is not good at all. Yeah. Elizabeth Candell, how old are you? I'm 31 years old, going on 70 from the feeling of my joints, to be honest. I'm quite young. I'm 31, and yeah, a lot of people think I'm like 40 or 50 or something when they first hear me. And curiously enough, I've had a lot of people say, I thought you were black until they actually saw a picture of me or saw me on a live stream. I get that quite a lot as well. And I'm just randomly throwing that out there, but you'd be surprised how many times people actually say that to me. And it comes out of completely out of left field every time I hear it. And I don't get it, but yeah, I'm 31 for those who want to know. The Nephilim all seem to be male, none were female. What are your thoughts on this strange phenomena? Yeah, they needed female women to reproduce. Eventually, to get around it, they ended up creating sirens and genetically engineering human women to be half serpent, half women hybrids. The whole point of the hybridization of human women and creating sirens was to make female hosts that could procreate with them without killing them. Because the problem was they would impregnate a female human, and then the Nephilim baby would grow in them and then burst out of them and kill the woman. So to get around that problem of producing only males, and needing females to reproduce, they created sirens to reproduce with. And Echidna is a good example of a siren. She was nicknamed the Mother of Monsters because she produced about 12 of the mythical monsters by mating with Typhon, a primordial sea god, which is basically a fallen angel or a Watcher class angel. And he also was a serpent, half serpent man monster. And she produced loads of monsters like the Hydra, um, Cerberus, the Hound of Hell. She's equated with producing the Gorgons like Medusa as well. Loads of them. And she was a siren, and she was a woman, a human who'd been turned into a snake monster. And now she was practically invincible. She could give birth without dying. So that's how they got around it. But they do need human DNA to reproduce. They need the female egg to reproduce, and they can only create men. And they can only create men, it seemed. It was actually the Book of King Og is all about that. And people say, well, it's not canon, but it's good history, and it explains how the King Og was the last of the Rephaim in a sense. He was a Rephaim, and he had this huge problem with reproduction. He couldn't keep his race going. He couldn't keep the giants going because they had no women. And they believed that the Star Child, this female they had, would be the savior of their race. And then Nimrod comes along and kills her, and he's furious. And the whole book of King Og is just King Og raging about how much of a dick Nimrod is for killing the Star Child, basically. And he's just going on and on and on, throwing shade at Nimrod and saying, what an absolute asshole, as if he killed our only hope at procreation. Why did he do this? She was going to save us. And he keeps going on about how he was uncircumcised, and he's just such a strange book. It's just King Og raging for like 80 pages about how much of a dick Nimrod was and how uncircumcised he was. That's literally it. That's literally the book. But the underlying theme of that book does say, they had issues procreating, a severe lack of females. That was the problem. Which is interesting. Interesting perspective. Read that book if you want that kind of understanding and perspective. But again, it's not technically canon, so I wouldn't hold much weight to the ideologies spread in that. It's the ideologies of fallen Nephilim at the end of the day. What's your opinion on time travel? Nonsense. I don't think it could truly happen. How did you know who I was talking about? Yes, they did. No graven image, fourth. Sorry, guys. The chat's kind of jumped away from me. I have no idea where I am at the moment. I'm up to the Now You See TV's compromise section. Vibes, thanks for being here. Please like and subscribe. Yes, I would like it, guys. If you would like the video, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Please collab with Now You See TV. They have amazing research on Nephilim. Who knows, guys? If they want to invite me on, they can invite me on. The best way to get me to collaborate with anybody is for you to suggest me to them. And then they can reach out to me if they're interested. That's the best way of doing it, okay? I'm not going to go around groveling to be on people's shows. That's just not my style, all right? But if they want to invite me on, I'll gladly oblige, but that's how it works. Uh, my wife does swear, guys. Yeah. um, I don't swear that much, really. No. Wow, you're young, bro. I guess I am. I don't feel young. I really don't feel young. I feel so old, and it's not because I'm 30 and I'm over. I mean, physically, like my body feels so old. Like I think I might have like 50 bends left in my knees. Um, Retail has destroyed my body. I'm aging rapidly. I think having a child has sucked out 10 years of my lifespan as well. And I just don't sleep right anymore. I don't get enough restful sleep because of this bloody hemochromatosis diagnosis I've got and the organ damage it's probably caused and everything. I feel like I'm 75 years old physically. But yes, I'm quite young. I'm only 31. Um, Great. This has evolved into another circumcision debate now. What is it, Buzz? Right, I'm not even going to go into that, but if you're interested to know what I'm referencing there, go to the Telegram chat and you'll see that there's been a very, very forward and strange argument and debate about circumcision for some reason, and I've ended up creating a whole new topic called health and medicine to try and keep that debate contained. Because I don't want the general chat just swamped with debates about foreskins. I really don't. What do you think that maybe the books of Jasher and Enoch are meant to remain a part of the Bible since they were quoted there? I do. I think they should have been there originally. I think they probably are canon likely because they are referenced by the Bible itself. Sure, absolutely. Um, all right, guys, I've caught up with the chat roughly. I'm sorry if I've missed any statements or questions. Um, I don't have enough all the time in the world, unfortunately, so I can't answer everything. But I have been going for 2 hours now, so I'm going to have to end the show. But it's been really good. Obviously, let's just check the analytics. I think we had quite a lot of people here today, didn't we? Which is wonderful. I'm just gonna have a look how it was going on YouTube side. Make sure to mute that before it starts blasting stuff at us as well. And we'll get the analytics up. Yeah, it's been a good stream. It's been a good stream. Looks like it peaked at 160 people, which is lovely, and it's tapered off a bit as time goes on, which generally tends to happen. That's a normal, good show. I like it, guys. Excellent. And thanks again for all the donations and super chats, guys. It means the world to me that you care enough to actually financially support me like that. It really does. Like I said, when I started this at the start of the year, I told you clear as day, if I'm going to spend time doing this, because I am self employed, time literally is money to me. So if I'm putting time into this, it has to be profitable. And I am blessed that this year it has become profitable to the point where I can actually make a living off this and feed my family, pay rent, pay for electricity. This I can do this for a living, but I can't do it without your help, obviously, and continued support. But it seems like God has blessed me enough for this to actually be something feasible for me to do. And my time is not wasted. It's actually worth it doing this. And I'm now one of those people who's in a very blessed position where I can wake up every morning knowing I have purpose and what I do I enjoy and love, and it actually is profitable and can support me and my family. I mean, that's the dream, isn't it? I'm my own boss and I actually love what I do. And that is talking to you guys, that is being able to do this, and that is being here with you every day, watching what you're watching, learning how you're learning, and being a part of the conversation. And this is what I wanted to do in my life, and this is what I get to do right now. Nothing's permanent. I know this might not last forever, but while I am here now with you guys doing this, thank you, thank you so much. I can't express enough how much all this means to me and how amazing it is to actually have this, and have you guys here and have this community. If you want to be more a part of the community even more, please go to the Telegram, sign up, and you can actually talk to me regularly on there. I'm always on there, and I'm actually having a back and forth with people all the time. We have fun. You know, we share we share memes on there as well. We have a laugh, we have jokes, and we all learn something as well. And we keep the conversation going. So come join the Telegram. Links down below. Make sure to check out E. Joyce's artwork, guys. Okay, links down below. Buy one of her prints. She's well underselling herself. She's only selling them for like $15. That's nothing. Okay, so the least you can do is buy 5 of them or something. All right, go and support Elizabeth. Go and buy her artwork. It's amazing work. You see, it's in the background whenever I'm doing a live stream in the living room. So, you know, it's there. Go and check it out, guys. And make sure to go on Patreon and support me there. If you want to be a regular donator, that would be wonderful on Patreon. If you want to support the book, there's a GoFundMe as well. I plan on putting a lot of extra time into that book in the coming months. Now that I have no photography editing to do, I'm freed to use my work time, my Monday, Tuesday morning work times to write. So hopefully that book should be well underway, and hopefully at the end of this year, fingers crossed, we'll have a book published. That's the aim, okay? But all those who support me on there, thank you so much. And the donations are still open for pre-orders if you want to go and check that out, guys. Links down below. So thank you very much. And as always, God bless.